In everyday language, certain words and terms often contain metaphorical clues to deeper semantic structures, offering insights into hidden connections. For instance, the lexical field encompassing Erinnerung, Gedächtnis, Gedenken, remembering, memory, remembrance, not only implies the internalization process, but also suggests cognitive processing of what is internalized. This dynamic relationship between passive internalization and active cognitive processing allows these terms to serve as interconnected key concepts in various multidimensional contexts. Recent research in neuroscience and psychology has adopted the metaphor of the net to illustrate the cooperative activities of memory, encompassing both internal neuronal and external social influences. Similarly, in sociological memory studies based on systems theory, the metaphor of the net serves as a cybernetic explanatory model, offering insights into the procedural dynamics of mnemonic practices in different social systems. While the net metaphor emphasizes the coordination and cooperation inherent in interdisciplinary research programs, it overlooks hierarchical structures of subordination. However, it promotes what could be termed an epistemology of relations, focusing on the interconnections and interactions between elements to probe the underlying forces. Within a socio-cultural field, the epistemology of relations intersects with discussions of Kulturelles, Gedächtnis, cultural memory, as exemplified by January Usman's notion of connectivity. Usman argues that every culture connects individual subjects based on shared norms and memories, forming a collectively inhabited meaningful world. This connectivity encompasses both communicative memory, active in linking the present with the recent past, and cultural memory, which connects the present to a distant past through various memory figures. The imagery of interconnectedness, whether through nets or textual fabrics, aids in conceptualizing both scholarly frameworks and research objects. While nets are more permeable and offer quick linking and unlinking, fabric metaphors evoke durability and texture, reflecting different aspects of cultural memory and research approaches. The concept of invention, understood within the rhetorical tradition of inventia, involves skillfully crafting arguments or concepts from existing materials. This notion extends to the development of research programs, requiring careful consideration of elements contributing to conceptual frameworks. Considering linguistic differences, the German term Kulturelles, Gedächtnis, differs subtly from its English counterpart, cultural memory, reflecting variations in semantic connotations and cultural contexts. Similarly, Gedächtnis and memory signify differences in their semantic nuances, highlighting the complexity of language as a register of collective memory and its influence on cultural objects. The Heidelberg concept of Kulturelles, Gedächtnis, has swiftly gained traction within interdisciplinary frameworks, facilitated by flexible forms of self-organization that promote informal communication structures. Inspired by the French model of the École des Annales, the Heidelberg Initiative fostered open association, discussion, and project initiation, particularly through January Usman's Egyptological Institute, which served as an interdisciplinary hub for cultural and memory studies. A pivotal moment in the dissemination of the concept was the publication of the volume Kultur und Gedächtnis in 1988, edited by January Usman and Tonia Achelscher. This collection of essays, along with subsequent publications, played a crucial role in showcasing the versatility of the concept of cultural memory. The term invention, in this context, refers not to creation ex nihilo, but to the rhetorical process of inventio, skillfully crafting arguments from existing materials. This approach was exemplified by the interdisciplinary colloquy, initiated by Alida and January Usman, focusing on the Archaeologie des littéraires communications, archaeology of literary communication, which emphasized the connectivity between death and writing in ancient Egyptian culture. The elaboration of the concept of kulturelles Gedächtnis involved differentiating oral and literal transmission processes, understanding culture as a symbolic world of meaning, and recognizing collective memory as a generator of values and identity. This theory challenged earlier notions equating alphabetic writing systems with advanced rationality, emphasizing instead the social organization of oral and written communication processes. Central motifs of the concept, including the differentiation from Halwahi's term mémoire collective, remained prominent in subsequent elaborations. The shift from Gedächtniskultur to Kulturelles Gedächtnis marked a conscious demarcation and refinement of terminology, reflecting a deeper understanding of collective memory as a key concept mediating between the individual and society. Usman's introduction of the term Kulturelles Gedächtnis was informed by a distinction that could benefit from Halwahi's theory. Unlike a simple juxtaposition of memory against scholarly historiography, Usman recognized that memory entails cognitive intellectual processes beyond a binary evaluation of true or false. Rather, memory operates with a quasi-poetic force akin to the mythic potency embodied in the ancient figure of Mnemosyne, as Halwah acknowledged in his social psychological reflections. A comparison between mémoire collective and Kulturelles Gedächtnis reveals significant differences. While Halwah sought to reconcile the cognitive dissonance between scholarly reconstructions and lived traditions, Usman's concept delves into the medial conditions and social structures through which groups and societies connect to cultural representations. This differentiation highlights the distinction between communicative group memory and the memory of tradition maintained by interpreting elites, emphasizing the endurance of sacralized worldviews. The ethical dimension of the Heidelberg cultural theory draws from ancient Egyptian funerary practices, where monumental burial architecture, adorned with writing, symbolically preserved the presence of the deceased. Usman interprets this as the origin of Kulturelles Gedächtnis, where semiotic hermeneutics reveal the ambiguous nature of memory figures. Through Usman's interpretive prowess, cultural history gains insights not only into ancient Egyptian religion and state, but also into the broader history of influence of Western thought. However, the idea of connecting culture and memory is not novel. Figures like Arnold van Gennep and Maurice Halward laid groundwork for this concept early in the 20th century, emphasizing the enduring longevity of cultural memory beyond historical expiration dates. Even Abai Warburg explored the socio-cultural implications of memory, highlighting its role in enduring and sublimating existential horrors. Through iconographic memory, the Moscow Tartu Semiotic School, led by Lotman in the 1970s, revived the association between culture and memory, a connection that the Heidelberg concept initially drew upon. Shortly afterward, Pierre Nora's volumes on lieux de mémoire emerged, offering an encyclopedic compilation of nationally significant collective memory constructs. These volumes not only catalogued memorial sites, but also analyzed their evolving functions within post-traditional lifestyles. More recently, a group of American philosophers has advocated for cultural memory as a means to counteract the erosion of history and memory within certain academic circles, attempting to establish primacy among these positions. Vis-vis the Heidelberg cultural theory would be futile. The Heidelberg theory presents a well-founded argument without adhering to rigid orthodoxy. It offers an adaptable open concept that extends beyond disciplinary boundaries. Although it can be viewed as conservative, the theory's engagement with German historical memory, particularly in debates regarding Holocaust commemoration, underscores its relevance to identity-forming politics of memory. However, a critical consideration arises regarding the Heidelberg theory's emphasis on the written word as the primary vehicle for transmitting tradition and shaping identity. This perspective implies that literacy and hermeneutic skills, historically monopolized by elite groups, grant access to cultural memory and its attendant identity rewards. This unequal distribution of symbolic capital raises concerns about social exclusion and the reinforcement of privileged group identities. Moreover, society's acceptance of norms and values isn't solely contingent upon a sacralized cultural canon. Rather, it emerges from ongoing processes of negotiation and consensus building, rooted in everyday communicative practices. This pragmatic defense of cultural standards transcends the distinction between everyday and sacred memory and doesn't necessitate an appeal to identity. It suffices for individuals to articulate the reasons for adhering to their cultural norms without disparaging alternative cultural experiences.